was different than being the president.
And again, it is saying to people of a certain age, because that's what the messaging has been. You're old, you're doddering, it really pissed me off.
Whoopi is annoyed. Basically, Whoopi is saying, got what you wanted now. Now, Whoopi is mad during this segment. What's up, y'all? Thank you for coming back. So we are talking about this whole situation with Joe Biden dropping out the race, the clown show that we live in. You know, we're going to go ahead and get into it, guys. But if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button and the notification bell. Let's go ahead and get into these hands. Going to break down some serious business here, and let's see. You know what? Maybe they do an amazing job. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong.
Biden announced he was going to bow out of the 2024 presidential race, writing in a statement that, quote, "While it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." This is what everybody was asking for, and this was the decision that he made. And is everybody okay?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's the first president since 1968 to
Lyndon Johnson,
to step down. I think it shows what a statesman he is. I think it shows what a patriot he is. I think it shows that he can put his country before his ego, because he had such a great record as president. I think that history will note him as one of the greatest presidents that we've had. I really do believe that. And I wasn't comfortable with the notion that people were forcing him out. I wasn't comfortable with the cannibalization that I saw in the Democratic Party. But I am comfortable if he made this decision with his inner circle, with Dr. Jill Biden, with his family, and decided to do it on his own. The fact that he has endorsed the Vice President, Kamala Harris, to be his successor makes it even more clear to me that it's not if she's going to be the nominee, it is when she is the nominee. So
I was sad. You know, as I've said here many times.
Now, before we get into why this one is going to say she was sad, I love how Sunny Hostins tells us that Joe Biden is a patriot for doing this, right? A patriot is a good American and the whole bit, right? A patriot for what? Lying to the American citizen for the past 4 years. Somebody's this sick. They just got this sick. What? Wait a minute. They just got this sick right after the debate, and now they have to step down, and I'm here in hospice. We've been lied to, guys. Like, it's okay, right? So this is why we need to talk about everything, all inconvenient truths, because like the fact that they pulled this on us 4 years, who's been running this country? What's been going on? Right. And miraculously in a bittersweet change of events, or I don't even know what to call it, everything is lining up perfectly. You had the bad debate, which, by the way, I did wonder why they did a debate in June. I did think it was odd. I was like, it's kind of early. Okay, whatever. Maybe they want to do 3-4 more. No, it was a setup. Oh, Joe Biden did bad. Now suddenly the media was able to talk about Joe Biden doing bad at the debate. Then suddenly the media was able to talk about Joe Biden need to step down. Then suddenly Joe Biden is stepping down. Now suddenly I'm hearing hospice. What is going on? These obvious coincidences it's almost mathematically, it is mathematically impossible that everything is lining up. Okay. But don't quote me on the hospice thing, because that's not a confirmed report, but stuff that I'm hearing.
Times I love Joe Biden, and I'm full of gratitude to Joe Biden today. So Joe Biden, thank you for everything. Over 54 years of career. So I was sad, you know, in the way that when you see a champion athlete retire, leave it all on the field and walk away into the sunset, that made me sad. It gave me nostalgia. I was also mad because he's been dragged relentlessly for 3 weeks by some people who supposedly were his friends. I hope that a lot of those donors that went out and said all sorts of things about him come back with a big check now. George Clooney, es contigo. You know, I'm grateful to his staff. I am grateful to Jill Biden. They've taken a lot of incoming in the last 3 weeks, a lot of attacks. They have been part of a very stable and steady administration. I will always be thankful. They took us out of the hell that was COVID, and they took us out of the hell that was Trump. For that, grateful till the end of my days.
So I
don't know what happened in 2016 to 2020. That was hell. I don't. You guys, drop a comment below. Let me know. Was it hell for you in 2016 to 2020? I'm not telling you how to vote or what to do. I'm just asking a general question, right? Because I keep hearing this, right? So I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I missed the war that we went to. Like, did they start World War III under the Trump administration? Were we fighting Russia? Middle East problems. Genocide in the Middle East. Were we, Taiwan? Were we giving billions to Taiwan to start wars there? So I'm just like, maybe I missed something. Maybe we did go to war and I just don't remember. Right? This is how they talk. The hell that was Trump. It is disrespectful to the American citizen, again, who is paying $5.99 for eggs when eggs under Trump, I believe, were like $2, organic ones too. So, it's these women should not talk.
I'm also grateful and I thank President Biden for his decades of service, but I do push back a little on Anna and Sunny's take on the party imploding. There is room for criticism when you're talking about the biggest job in the world. And I don't think those people that are friends, even George Clooney's op-ed, was really touching and beautifully written, saying this is hard to say out loud. So a lot of those people were torn themselves. And a party, it's not a president, it's an entire party. And every election matters down that ballot as well. They were allowed to also speak up for their constituents. So I commend the people that took that risk and said we need to do this, because I do think that began some very hard conversations. But I will say, what jumps out at me is the stark contrast in how Trump handled President Biden stepping down, and how President Biden handled after Trump was, there was an attempted assassination. President Biden picked up the phone and he called the former President Trump, and he sent well wishes to the family. He right away put out unifying messages saying, we're in this together. We need to tone the rhetoric down. Former President Trump jumped on Truth Social and started to berate him, has continued through this morning. Now, in any competition, when someone gets hurt and they step off the field, now they're no longer your competition. They're just someone on the sidelines. He has continued to drag President Biden in a way that, to me, shows you the difference in what we're dealing with this election and the type of statesmanship, which we haven't seen from Donald Trump ever.
Well, and listen, I think it.
Where's the proof? Because I know he put on Truth Social that Joe Biden, he didn't believe that Joe Biden even had COVID, and that he's actually not been well all this time, and that the American people were lied to. That's the same thing I said, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like a lot of this stuff with the theater. By the way, I did not do an episode about the attempted assassination. I do believe that part did happen. But, there's a lot of questions about inside jobs and foreign nations and everything else. But nobody really wants the real answers. So people do content for DEI and all of this ridiculousness that they're talking about, or catch up in the ear, whatever. I thank God that Donald Trump did not lose his life. And listen, I'm not asking for some hasty, life ending for Joe Biden at all. I'm just saying what has been going on in this country. And I think everybody has the right to ask that question. George Clooney writes an op-ed and it's like, well, I understand why he did that, but Trump says what's been going on the last 4 years. Oh, he's being mean again. But the person who, because Anna, she's just going to say a bunch of stuff. I don't know what her name is. Alyssa, I don't know. The person who couldn't take it anymore was Whoopi. I mean, she was visibly upset.
Bored by it. I'm telling you, I'm bored by it. I'm bored by it. I'm going to tell you why. The messaging that we have put out to people over a certain age is horrific. We have basically said, hey, you know what? We kind of think if you're over a certain age, you don't really have what it takes to do the job that you're doing. That's the messaging that we've put out. So I'm bored by hearing that. I'm also bored by people saying, well, it's the next generation. It's still an unknown. We can believe what we like to believe. And I love Kamala and have defended her from day one. I know she can do the job. I would have preferred my Democrats to do this, not publicly and in everybody's face, because what it did was it had a sitting having to talk about this endlessly. and not being able to say, because we couldn't have two-way conversations about this kind of thing, with just sort of being left. So I'm bored by the oh my God, is what's going to happen? Because I know that the American people, regardless of who the nominee is going to be, it's going to be up to the people.
The one thing
And for me, that's why when I
seems
said
one thing
disrespectful.
Well, I didn't even know what Whoopi just said there. Whoopi is visibly angry, saying that the Democrats should have did this behind the scenes. No, Americans need to know what's going on. Everything is behind the scenes. 80% of what our government does is behind the scenes. Matter of fact, I'll even say 90%, but I'm being conservative with that number. We don't know anything that's going on in this country. There was an attempted assassination on the former president. We're never going to know who put out the hit what. We're supposed to believe that some kid went up there, with everybody saying there's somebody on the roof with a ladder, right? And we're supposed to believe that that kid was able to just get that done. And then they snuffed him out, right? And just that easy, right? Like, it is annoying at this point. It's more than annoying, it's frustrating. We pay taxes to get lied to. It's like, it's betrayal. It feels like total betrayal. So this thing about they should have did it behind closed doors, they do enough behind closed doors. Because I'm going to keep it real with you. I personally think that Anthony Blinken has been running the country for at least the last, year? Come on now. Like, let's have a real conversation. So we should do it behind closed doors? What are you talking about? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. The system is behind closed doors.
It was, yeah.
I would say on the age thing is, like, I worked in the White House under a very different president. It was chaotic, but every single White House, like, the presidency is so different than any other job. I don't think most Americans think that if you're 80, you can't do any number of things.
No,
the
but
presidency
we've made
is
that.
uniquely challenging.
But we've made
and by
that
the way,
a point.
Donald Trump, now it's on him. Now he's the oldest presidential.
Well, can I
I have distinguished between Joy Behar at 81 and President Biden. I've said before that it's not the number, it's how the number looks on the person.
And being a host of The View is
This is why these people should not talk, because it has nothing to do. And you guys know I have a nursing background. It's not even about 81 looks like this on one person and that on another person. If you take care of yourself and you don't have allegedly, in my opinion, cancer, brain cancer, possible, allegedly, in my opinion, Parkinson's disease, yeah, of course you're going to look different because you don't have a diagnosis. It has nothing to do with the age. Anybody could get muscular dystrophy at 38. And so somebody at 71 could look better than a 38-year-old. So this is why everybody has an opinion, but it's not an informed opinion. And then they go on a show and then they just cackle. I have to understand that this is just a show for content. So let me not get that worked up about it. But it still frustrates me to know that these women think that they know what they're talking about.
was different than being the president.
And again, it is saying to people of a certain age, because that's what the messaging has been. You're old, you're doddering, it really pissed me off. Not because I'm as close, but because I felt it was disrespectful.
Yes.
I mean, the disrespectful part, I don't care. It's not about being disrespectful. Can you get the job done? But because they did say it's just about the age, I find it disrespectful because, again, they lied to the American people. It's not just about the age with Biden. Okay. There was something else going on. Okay. And they did not tell us. Age does not end your life. Okay. Be clear. Okay. A pathophysiological thing happens that ends your life. Okay. So I can understand the frustration. But what Whoopi should be saying is they should have been telling us more. And they did hone in on his age. But they honed in on Trump's age too. See, this is why I don't trust anything that's going on. Because I see how the media is trying to portray these things. One president, one candidate almost got snuffed out, and now the other one is out. What is going on?
Well,
I felt it was disrespectful.
now I want us to spend the next 3 weeks talking about how old and demented Donald Trump is. I expect a
It's not a serious conversation. Everybody claps. It's just not a serious conversation. What do you mean old? Old people aren't demented. They're not demented because they're old. Something happens neurologically. They're predisposed to something. Some abnormality happened. These women just get on my nerves to the utmost. I'm sorry, guys. Thanks for watching.